Well, break's not quite over yet, but we finished downloading all of these components, and so I'll now click finish. Yay! Okay. Oh, interesting. There's some preferences and everything. Okay. Oh, nah, I deleted that. Okay. Let's pause this for a moment. Okay, so I had the Android DMG. I installed Android, and then I needed to get started with the SDK. And so then, even though it took like whatever it was, 25 minutes, it downloaded all the stuff from the SDK, and now Android Studio has started up. And so, those of you who've been working with IntelliJ, it might look a little familiar. Oh, look, they're starting. Here's sort of the start screen. And so then I am going to. I'm just going to start. Well, actually, what does the tutorial say? I think the tutorial. Let me go back to that. Nice. Okay. It says start a new Android Studio project. Okay. And so, and this is something nice that that Android Studio provides, which is sort of templates for getting started with everything. And I encourage you all to take advantage of this. I'm just going to walk through a simple one. You might want to choose something else. But following the tutorial, it says select an empty activity. Okay, and I did. Next. Let's see here. Yeah, my application. I don't know. Let's do the right thing. So edu pdx cs410j, Whitlock, sure, my application. I want to put it in the non-default location because I want to put it in my GitHub repository. So I'm going to go find, let's see here, my PSU directory, git our old friend, Portland State Summer 2019, use that. And then there, I want to make sure it's in a directory. I'll call it first Android application. I want to use a Java programming language. Android and JetBrains people that make IntelliJ wrote this other language called Kotlin. I think they mainly did it because like Oracle is so controlling of Java. Which has some nice things, but this is not advanced programming with Kotlin. It's advanced programming with Java, so we're going to use Java. Things like the minimum API level, we're not going to have anything fancy. So sure, choose API 15, everything like that. Instant apps, I don't even know what those are. But anyway, so actually, let's just call it first Android app. And this is the empty activity, and so this will be relatively straightforward. Okay, so we'll click Finish. So then this will go, and here again, Android Studio is built on top of IntelliJ. Should all look very familiar to you. And it goes and creates a new application. It's got all the tips of the day, stuff like that. A lot of this is the same as what you'd see in IntelliJ. For the minimum, whatever the default was, so 15, ice cream sandwich or something. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. We'll be, we're only going to be running this on one device. But actually, this is something that if you do an Android application for real, you need to decide what which devices you want to support. Do you how old do you want your compatibility and things like that? Oh look, things failed. Run tasks. Oh, is that? I guess it was skipped or whatever. Okay, so good. And as you can see, the Android Studio created all of this all of this code. It's got resources. It's got the Android manifests. So just the same way that Maven laid out your source code in a certain format, Android Studio and Android does the same thing. I'll make this a little bigger so we can see it all. Oh, that's kind of cut off on that one side. Down here, okay, and so then down here in this sync window. This is sort of the thing that builds that's building parts of your application. So okay, cool. We've created our application. Now let's go back to the tutorial. We've done all of that. Yep, it opens. And then, yeah, right. It's like, hey, let's look at some of the classes. So here's your activity class. I'll make it a little bigger. Sorry. View. Where is? I can never remember. What do I have to do? So control plus is not it. Is it control? No, that's the wrong one. Oh, it's probably some application setting or something. That's project setting. And then font size. No results. There we go. Oh, this is like Mac OS help. That's lame. Oops. Oh, look at that spinny ball. Okay. Sorry, what was that? Yeah, to zoom in.
You need to change the settings and allow that setting.
Yeah, well, no, this is for IntelliJ.
Yeah, they naturally.
Oh, there it is.
So you need to go to settings and enable that.
Main menu, Windows, Zoom. Really? Change font size. Oh, yeah. Oh, because with command mouse wheel. Actually, that's fine. That's off by default because I've screwed that up so many times. There we go. There we go. That's fine. Okay. So we'll go into the details of activities at a later time, but the whole idea is that this is sort of where your Android application will start. We also have like this resources directory that has things like let's see here. Does it have? Oh, it doesn't have. It has like PNGs and stuff that are included inside your application. So there's files and. My goal for tonight is to sort of get everybody familiar with it enough that they can get it working and sort of follow along at home. Actually, has anybody downloaded and installed the DMG yet?
I got it. I went across the street.
No way, really? Did you? Yeah, so you come back with your skateboard. Okay.
I was right.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And let's see here. So how far have you gotten into it? Is it now?
From where you are, like
You are?
I went across
Wow.
the street and it's just like instant.
Okay.
It's just this room.
Okay. Well, the walls are painted with lead paint, so I'm sure yeah. Anyway, not funny. Okay. Well, thank you for taking your health seriously. So anyway, okay. So now we're here. So we've got our thing, and the reason these things are all red is because these are classes that are not checked into version control, which actually I might as well do. Unversion filed. Let's view this as, where did they move it to? Change lists, group by, directory. There we go. Here, Gradle wrapper, get ignore, settings.gradle, app, source. Okay, good. This is all. So I think if we just add this whole directory to git, and then we can commit it saying initial Android application files, Italian version files generated by Android Studio. Commit and push. Okay. See, the nice thing about Android Studio is that it's IntelliJ. It's what you're used to. 90% of it is familiar, so you only need to focus on learning that last 10%. This is, of course, all very much on purpose. Okay, now we're going to run our application. So I don't have a real device, so we're going to run on an emulator. So what you do is you say, okay, I'm going to run my application, and I use the Run button, just like I did with my Java stuff. And now it's got to download some more stuff. So the whole idea is that you can run. Well, if you have Android device connected via USB, you can basically build your application, download it to it, and run it on there. We do not. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to run it on an emulator. And so I think we should just all choose the Pixel 2 API 29. It's sort of like one of the default ones here. And so then I'm going to say, okay, I'll just take that one. It says that it's missing a system image because you need to download it. So, okay. And so then, yes, I don't know, I'm probably giving it all my personal information. Doesn't want my firstborn. But anyway, and then there's more stuff to, yep, accept. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did you click on to get there?
The run button. And then in the hey, which thing to run, I chose the Pixel one. So this is now just more stuff you gotta install. And here we go. Okay, so now it's downloading again. So we'll come back to this in a couple of minutes. So anyway, so in order to run it, you need to install the emulator. So what we installed last in the beginning was all of those shared components: the Android runtime, the operating system, all that kind of stuff. The SDK, all the tool set was downloaded. Now what we're doing is we're downloading a device emulator, a phone emulator in this case. Oh my gosh, a whole gigabyte. Okay. And so then what we're going to be able to do, though, is something really awesome, is that when we run it, then we'll actually see something that looks just like the device, which actually is the device. And this is actually part of the whole contract deal that that device manufacturers have, is that they provide these emulators so that application developers can make sure that their applications work well and look good on their devices. So while we're doing that, would you like me to talk more about Android, or do you want to focus on Project 4 for a little bit? Project 4. Project 4, maybe? Okay. I think the majority of people are Project 4. We'll come back to the Android because I want to show you and make sure that we have an opportunity to see what the emulator looks like. Oops.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said so to get the emulator, you went to run. And
Yep.
Where did you go after run? I didn't quite see that.
It pops up a dialog and it says, "Hey, there's no Android device attached, but hey, here's like 4 options to like 4 devices, like the Google Pixel, something or other." What do you see? Say app. Interesting. No, go back here. Sorry. Yeah, and under the delete that. Oh, do edit configurations and delete that. Oh wait, here we go. That's it. Okay, so yeah, he had to. Oh, you don't have any devices. Try creating virtual device. Oh, okay. So, okay, you know what? Okay, so somehow mine had more choices, and so then if you don't get any choices to use, click Create New Virtual Device. Okay, so while that's
Which one are we using again? Is it the Pixel 2?
yeah,
XL or 3?
I don't know.
He has a
What were the choices again?
Pixel 2 or Pixel 2 XL?
Let's just not do the XL. Let's just regular Pixel 2. And sorry, I'll get this all better documented once we get stuff working.
You don't want to use the VM, can you just use your own phone?
No, because here again, I gotta be able to grade it. So just the same way that you need to make sure that your programs all work well in the PSU machines, because that's the machine that grade. I think you only need to use the same emulator, because otherwise, if you can write your application for whatever your personal device is, or maybe get something against a Google Pixel, you want to use something else. Sorry, because otherwise we risk. I mean, it's for your own good. I mean, otherwise we risk your application not looking good, and I don't know how to use it, and you get a bad grade. Yeah.
Which version of Android? Like I'm giving like Q or pie Oreo, like there are a bunch of different versions.
Oh, I think I use ice cream sandwich. I don't know if it really matters that much.
System image.
Oh, system image?
Yeah, it's like API level 29, 28, 27, 26, 25.
Oh, 29. Use the latest. I think. I hope. Okay, so some people are getting started with that. Project 4. Are there questions? Are there things you want to talk about? Was there things you'd like to explore and then come back and ask questions, share with the class? How can we best use our time together right now?
Yeah, I had a couple questions about Project 4.
Yeah.
So the dictionary is modeled sort of based around, the dictionary of like words to definitions is modeled on a dictionary, like a data structure, which is a map of string to string. And it seems like the whole project, the scaffolding that's in place is based around that map.
Yes.
And it's so I was just having some confusion, I guess, about whether or not like I should keep it as a string to string map, or I should try to like rewrite it with as a string to an appointment book. And it was very difficult because if you follow that thread all the way down, you end up at the HTTP helper class, which has some methods that are maybe like I can't override or I can't like use in a different way. So it's I don't know. I was just curious, like if you have any.
So the dictionary is the data that your REST API is modeling. So in my mind, the analog to the your analog to the dictionary is your multiple appointment books. So then instead of having a dictionary, I would store multiple appointment books.
So would you say like doing away with that map, or would you still use some kind of a map, or?
There are multiple appointment books. So at first blush, I'd probably say, oh, you should have a map of like appointment book owner name to the appointment book. But you could also just have a list and search it or something, right?
So at a certain point, we can kind of just like get rid of a bunch of the methods that implement the map, or like pass the map back and forth. Because at a certain point, I was trying to like just like use the skeleton that was in place, but I think that it might make more sense to just get rid of half of the scaffolding and then just
That's kind of the intent, and it's a challenge that I have with this project because on the one hand, I want to provide enough structure so that you're not like starting from scratch and trying to figure all this stuff out. There's no way you could. Well, it'd be very challenging to do that in 2 weeks. On the other hand, I need to provide you enough of something that works so that we can debug it so you can understand it. And so then, yes, I mean, I think a sort of meta lesson in this is, taking your scalpel and figuring out, okay, well, what things do I need to change? Where can I, what is really just core to the dictionary application, and can I throw it out? Or, okay, no, wait, this is, there are other things which ought to stay. I think there'll be tons of changes, a lot of changes on the servlet side. On the REST client side, of course, you'll have a different domain. So instead of get all dictionary entries, you might have, I don't know, pretty print for a customer name or something like that. I don't know. But you'll still use, like the get method and the post method, post to my URL method. That's interesting. I don't have a get from my URL. With that API there. So the intent here is that you would have another, your appointment book REST client still uses the methods inherited from HTTP helper, like get and post to my URL, and post, I guess. Well, yeah. You still use those methods, but you would instead be getting and posting to the URLs described in the assignment, not the ones in the toy dictionary application.
I see. Yeah, I think I was just trying too much to keep too much in place, and I think it's it's hard to determine at first glance like which of them you can just delete and which of them you have to sort of.
And that's all part of the assignment is it's figuring that out, how to evolve this code and to have it do the right thing. And but if you think, hey, it'd be easier to start from scratch, you got a delete button, right? It's like you can do it if you want. I really kind of wouldn't recommend it until you understand all this stuff. Oh, and the messages class is probably the messages interface. The messages class is probably something you can just like do away with. Messages makes it easier to test because the logic for formatting text is all in one place, but it's not something that you probably need to keep for your final assignment.
That's so clean.
So clean having the
I thought of that for projects.
I thought I thought here again it makes it easier to test, so they don't have a bunch of like hard coded strings in two places.
Right.
Yeah. Are there other things I can show you? Is there anything from last week that you want to review, like how to debug or anything like that? Do you want me to go through that again? No. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I kind of got tired. Right. Maven ops. You guys know where IntelliJ define the magical string that you paste in?
I would be curious how the Project 4 module is supposed to talk to the client. Because like if you click on the URL and you submit things to those boxes, you can get like output on the if Jetty's running, you can get output on the website. But I'm not sure how the Project 4 module is supposed to talk to the client in the servlet.
Well,
I guess I'm because so far what I have tried to do is like I just take the servlet, the appointment book servlet, and then just like write everything in there, and then to click around on the URL, and everything is like printed. But I haven't been able to run it from the command line because I don't know. I guess I don't get how it's supposed to.
Well, I mean that's all here in the appointment book REST client. So the way I have it structured is Project 4 deals with the API provided by this appointment book REST client. And the idea of appointment book REST client is that it's supposed to abstract all of the URL stuff for the REST API. So the fact that you got to create the URLs, the fact that you got to request that URL with either a get or a post, send all the parameters, encode all the parameters correctly, all that stuff. That's all abstracted by the REST client. And so then your Project 4 just deals with the methods of the REST client. So it basically speaks Java to this object, and then the REST client object translates methods like get all dictionary entries into an HTTP GET. And right, I mean this is basically what your web browser is doing with the HTML form, except that it expresses that HTTP post or GET or whatever as a HTML form, where this makes that same exact HTTP request, but does it from Java.
Okay.
Right, and your servlet doesn't know the difference, doesn't care, because the content of the servlet and the content of your web application is the REST API, which is an HTTP-based API.
So in the event that we do write an HTML, I know you don't want us to submit it, but in the event that we write one for testing, you would want the field names to be the same.
They have to be, yeah.
Otherwise, the appointment book servlet won't know how to handle it.
Exactly, right. I mean, so you need to have an owner parameter. It can't be called key and value anymore because your servlet won't understand key and value.
Okay.
Or sorry, a word and definition. Word and definition.
Do you have an implementation path that you would prefer, like servlets, REST clients, or something like that?
Oh, I would recommend servlet with unit tests, and then REST API with and then REST API for integration tests, and then command line with integration tests also. So I would implement. Would I? Yeah, I'd probably implement things from the inside out, which really isn't my preference. But with the unit tests, you can do it. Otherwise, I mean, I suppose you could go the other way. And then what you would have is, because we don't really mock out the servlet API, so you'd have to start with integration tests, which can be slow. And you could always have your servlet return like just canned data or whatever, if it's not, until you implement it. But probably what you want to do is start by implementing the servlet, but then test it using the unit test, like the appointment book servlet test, which then uses Mockito, right? You use the magical when methods and stuff like that to configure what the request is going to look like, and then so you get all of your so basically you get the API working this way, and then you implement the REST client to then call those methods for real and have integration tests drive that, and then finally implement your command line. That's how I would do it.
That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't completely sure.
Yep, yeah, I think that's how I would approach it. Still going. Do you want like some lab time? Do you just want to pair up and work with each other to just demonstrate that you can do some Project 4 stuff? I mean, what's the best way to approach that?
Sure.
Okay, let's take like 20 minutes, and I can float around maybe, and yeah. So
I'd love to show you.
someone come find me. Okay, so I'll pause the video.
I wouldn't, copy let me show you. It's really fun. Alright, so check it out. Still gonna implement.
Hey, I wanted to do a check-in to see where we're at, and I noticed that I finished downloading. So we'll continue in with the Android Studio, and then come back to that. Okay. Oh, look at this! Son of a gun. The emulator start. Ted, do I have a? It's saying Haxum 603 is installed. Well, can I? Oh wait, is it thinking about something? Oh wait, sorry. Yeah, waiting for target device to come online. So it started the emulator, and this is what the emulator looks like. It looks like a phone! Yay! And it is loading the app, and it's taking its own sweet time about it. Maybe there's some initialization stuff. Or maybe it'll fail spectacularly. I'll have to figure out how to do it. But sorry? I run the emulator. So, yep. So yeah, there's another 20 minutes of installation on our network. Oh, but here it is. The phone is starting. Ah, 8 gigabytes of RAM on your laptop. Huh. Okay, what is it saying? Oh, interesting.